Hey guys, yeah, 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon as we head towards the weekend. Welcome back in. It has been quite the couple of days here for energy stocks specifically, crude oil specifically. I was just having a look at oil overall. Remember, this time yesterday was down 5.5%. Here we are back to the upside to the tune of 4% this afternoon. Heading towards the 2:30 pit session close over in Chicago. But yeah, remember yesterday, down 5.5. Here we are 4 back to the upside. So back and forth we go for crude oil. That is how the overall S&P 500 is shaping up as we head into the final couple hours here. The exact opposite of what we saw yesterday down here for energy stocks. 2.5 for XOM, MRO, better part of 3% to the upside. CVX there as well, 2.2%, but a nice look across the board. Among the more positive areas of the market anyways right now. Tesla back upside 1.2%. Amazon going to sell Hyundai vehicles, I saw, at the beginning of next year on Amazon. So if you want a new car, go to Amazon apparently now. Some positivity in the pharma area once again as well. Eli Lilly up 0.5%. The rest, though, negative on the session, so definitely some relative strength. Banks are strong to end the week. Some individual names in here. The semiconductor group standing out as well. Broadcom up 2%. AMD 1.1%. Nice look. NVIDIA basically flat. Intel, Apple not really doing anything either. But yeah, these two right here, a bit of a problem right now for the market. Microsoft and Google. 1.8% downside for Google. It's worth noting some consumer-related stocks, P&G, Pepsi, Coke, Nike, also all downside. There's Amazon 1.3%, right at day highs essentially. Off that note, Hyundai on Amazon, kind of strange. Tesla 1% back to the upside as well as I was mentioning. Yeah, rates coming off a little bit heading into the weekend, which seems to be anyways helping things out here as far as yields are concerned, as far as interest rates are concerned. The dollar is concerned as well, a little bit downside. So yeah, I mean, a tight little formation here on the daily chart for the NASDAQ, 1, 2, 3, 4 days after the gap following CPI. So good look. Overall, there was a ton to consider if you were with us in the pre-market this morning as far as opportunities were concerned. We were talking a little bit about Amat coming off earnings, and we were talking a little bit about Gap specifically, but Amat was top of the list on this investigation, apparently ignoring what the U.S. thinks chip makers should be doing in not sending things to China, because they still were. So opportunity today, guys, for Amat.
As I swallow my water there. Look, Amat had a very, very good rebound this morning, and if you think about what's been happening the last couple of days, whether it's Cisco or in particular Amat, or just a lot of these earnings, I don't know, pullbacks, quadunks, whatever terminology you want to give, Amat was along those lines. Now the thing about this is the quarter was good, right? It was the investigation that shot. Well, I mean, they might have pulled back anyways. It's hard to tell. You can't know that in this situation because the investigation and the charges did happen. I would like to think that it wouldn't have been that bad without it, and I think that's what the market's telling you here. It's going to take a while for this to play out, and the quarter was good. I thought would be 140 to 142 as a target area for these reasons on the daily. It bounced right off the top of the range. Top of the range instead of getting inside of the range is the difference between getting the dip buy at the open and not. It just didn't quite follow through enough. Probably could have pivoted to just buying the flag. Bull flag, I guess, would be right here at 146. I like Amat. I think your chance to get in on that bad news might have been gone. I think you'd be chasing it at this point. Let this play out. You know, I'm not saying they're guilty or innocent or whatever it might be. It's just it's going to take a very long time for this to get settled. But the quarter, all in all, was pretty decent. And you also have to keep in mind, this was going into this, it was making fresh highs, a triple top on the daily. So it was 52-week highs that also got rejected. So some of that was sellers probably taking some profit. I mean, why not? Like if you were long this stock at the beginning of the year, you got the absolute, you got like 90s to 100, you get 50% return there, and able to get out when all of a sudden they have a criminal investigation going on. I mean, who's not going to take profit? If you were thinking about taking profit after earnings, you were definitely taking it this morning, and I think it got overdone.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier this morning that Amat was going to be a buy. It's just you had to wait a couple of days for it to settle down. I mean, it's in the right space. It's one of the right names. I feel like, you know, that's something that definitely you'd want to look at. We waited a little bit too long, but if you took the advice this morning, then you're all good. But look at this Microsoft trade right here. 372. You know, off VWAP, let it base out, and there it is right there. So, I mean, here's just one more coming through for everyone. And we're $1.50 in the money on the number one trade today from Amazon. We have it, the number one trade. I know Sharif was talking about it on the midday show as well because I made him. Amazon long at 143 again right there. I mean, you know, like it's one thing, and this is why I talked to Sharif and Adara, and they're going to be sharing our screens soon in the midday, because it's one thing to talk about how to trade, and it's another thing to put the trades on. You know, so that's the one thing I just want to say, like, you got to have, exactly, you got to have confidence in your ability to make calls and then put the trades on. So as you start to learn the new processes and things like that, that's why the Sticky Note has been the #1 free resource on Twitter besides, well, I guess our watch list is the #1 free resource, but that's why this is the #1 free resource for trade ideas on Twitter. So you guys can go check that out. It is #StickyNote. Go find it.
Just seeing something called Zap. Just popped up in front of me. ZAPP, a little penny stock. Anyways, here is GPS, 1750. What a day for this thing. Now 28.5% for, as you were saying this morning, our favorite high school shopping clothing place. I mean, I still have, I'm sure, a few things lying around from the Gap at some point. But
I do. I have a couple of fleece sweaters.
Yeah,
they're
great.
Their own, Brendo.
I mean, they were good quality. But anyways, better than this expected report here for GPS.
Yeah, it was a story of income here, Brendo, and tightening up the costs, because they actually made less revenue on the quarter. It was actually down about 7% year over year, yet somehow they were able to beat on EPS and profit, because they made about $218 million. Compare that to last year when they lost about $282 million. So it was about shoring up, Brendo, costs with respect to fewer commodity costs, fewer promotions, a series of cost-cutting initiatives like the 2,000 jobs that they laid off. So good luck for them today.
Yeah, I was just zooming out here a little bit on the daily chart. Easily today, the biggest volume day of the year, if you go all the way back to 2022 even. So huge move here, guys, for Gap.
29% to the upside, but it got one place. I said wait for it. This morning, I was really not chasing the long. I was looking for the dip buy, similar to what like you saw Macy's essentially give it up yesterday in a very, very similar situation to Gap. So my anticipation, well, it wasn't really anticipation. It was more along the lines of, hey, you've got this big move up. You just had a cohort do the same thing and then give it back off the open. There's your double top on the daily, and pretty clean. If you go zoom a little bit further out, you kind of run right into this high. A little hard to see there, but the lower high is 18, the higher high is 19, going all the way back into 2021. So there's significant levels from a couple of years ago, and once you got into 18, let's talk about front and back end. It's all green on the 15-minute until it false breaks 18 even. Now, the thing about that is, if it never breaks 18 even, probably don't get in this trade, because waited for it to get the other way. I had a reload on a lower high, which I didn't like. That was bad. Should have waited for this level. But one trade for me on Gap, which was the back end of that 18 level. This morning, only 2 plans of action. When it got to that level on the daily chart, look short. If it dip bought into $15.50, look long. There was no dip into that level. You could have taken it off 16 even. If you did, congratulations. If you took a breakout, like a clean breakout trade off the pre-market high, that was gold as well. That's a trade that hasn't even been that good this year, but the clean breakouts off pre-market highs, maybe they're coming back. I mean, it's obviously a bull market thing, so a good one if you had that here today, but just more patience, I think, waiting for that top on GPS.
Yeah, exactly, and that's we'll take that, because alert, alert, alert. That's exactly what it was all about today, was patience. And I mean, there it is right there. We waited until right when we went off there, 10:30. We shorted it at $18, so that's exactly the short that we had. There's the first take at 80, so that's 20 cents, 75s, 60s, and then we just took an out at VWAP. So we're 50 cents in the money right now with Gap. We talked about that. I mean, this, again, another pretty easy trade. We opened it up, and we just showed you guys. I was like, there's going to be something in here. It's too bad that we didn't get a little bit higher because we were ready to put on many more shares than we have right now. But as you guys know, a win is a win, and we just put this in our pocket and just keep on stacking. So, you know, if you're rocking, you're rocking, and if you're not, you're not. But Gap today, 30% up to the upside. Pretty easy fade right there. I mean, it never went against us 10 cents or something like that. So no need to get out, take the profit. We're still waiting for that flush back in. If you have this, you have this. It's another sticky note play. What else can we say? What's up, Jennifer?
All right, we'll jump over to the chips here and touch on Intel. We were looking at yesterday, specifically coming off a upgrade that came through for Intel that just triggered this huge, huge rally yesterday, back above 43 and then some, testing the highs actually right now for INTC back higher, but nowhere near what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, Mizuho really liking this stock with a price target upgrade from 37 to 50. Here's what they're saying. This 2024 could be a prolific product launch year as they look to launch some of their data centers and AI products. They like it to the tune of $50. So let's see how it does.
Guys.
So very quickly here, the market just made a fresh high, but this just happened in Carvana. I don't know what's going on. I'm missing some data in my Carvana chart, but you know, there it is. It bounced off VWAP here and come back up. I said from this morning, I was shorting this level on Carvana. That's where my activity is with my stops, works, stop, and then wait for it to get to the actual top. It did, made a lower high, so we're in it now, and it is falling with the market going through the high of the day. I don't really know what's up with that, but you know, Carvana just went back into the downside. Intel, I was both ways. If you look at it, see, I'm missing data here too. I was in the long on Intel, bounced VWAP, and then stopped out the bottom, then went short off the high of the day. That ended up being, even though it's against the grain, it ended up being the better trade, mostly because I didn't get back in at VWAP here. It bounced VWAP, consolidated, and went higher. I know what it looks like. So I was in Intel, got most of it out when it held this higher low at 43.15, reloaded for 5-cent hit with a tight stop on INTC. Not nearly as strong as this was yesterday, but the bigger story for Intel would be the enormous channel break that it's on right now. And today, more than anything, is like a consolidation day at the high. So there's some scalping at the top, nowhere near what you got yesterday in terms of volatility, but that's a good consolidation day on good volume for it to be able to hold these tops. 45 was the next level on the daily chart. You know, I think it could easily see that next week, barring obviously NVIDIA reports next week, barring something crazy from NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA can drop everything as far as I'm concerned. So you know, I think it has a chance to get to the 45 level on its own, but if NVIDIA tanks the market, it probably doesn't matter.
Amazon here, off the sticky note, back to days high, as we just talked about the market getting back to the days high here. So that one's continuing to rip up another $1.50 here as Microsoft. So right now you're coming back to me holding two positions that are both $1.50 in the money. Amazon right here, and Microsoft is absolutely taking off right now. So we have this price down here. Someone in the chat asked me, how did we get this price on Microsoft? Just by buying. It came back in right here, 372. We bought it a couple times. That was that, man. And now you're all the way up. So it's $1.40 in the money there for Microsoft. So that's what it is as keeps on going up. And we just keep on hashtagging real trading because these are trades that you can actually make off of VWAP and things like that. So, you know, pay attention to some of the trades. And I think they're pretty simple. All the trades that I'm putting out are very, very simple, and we're following rules and making that money once again. So the only trade that we looked at, we're going to be green on this name today, is going to be AMD, only name in the chip sector. It's barely a green name because we ripped up and we broke through that 120.50. But once we got through there on the pre-market level, we just got out. So a couple, look at this short early, off 120. That goes all the way down to 119. So that's early. Then we hit it again. That was good. Then again, then stopped out. Then again for cash, and then stopped out. So just notice that all of these stop outs are very close to the entries. You know, so the most important thing when you're trading this kind of a style is share size. So, you know, you can have the winners and everything, but you have to be properly share size at the right times. You know, so AMD continues to be nice. It's NVIDIA's Tuesday night, so like JC said yesterday, and it's just you're just looking at price. You're just looking at price, and if you haven't been long this bull market, then you've missed this whole move up, and hopefully it continues, and we'll just go from there. I mean, there's not much else you could do. It's been a bull market. Obviously, you can see what's been happening, and it's been led by the semis, right? I mean, this SMH. SMH. Why did it go to SMHB? That was my fault. Right there. These guys bouncing off 140 and the 200 period moving average. I was able to get more long down there as well, right into here. Oh, that's right. It might not be the 200 period average on ours. Nah, it's not. But, okay, 140 is legitimately down there, the 200 period. Unfortunately, we have this charting issue here with something that was split, so both these are off. But look at this hold down there at 140. AMD comes and saves the day. AMD was down to $94 on their report. Now AMD 121 about 3 weeks later. So let's see what happens with NVIDIA. I think as the biggest and the baddest go up, they can easily fall just as well. So let's see what happens with NVIDIA. I'm pretty positive about it. The only real worry for me on the chip space is China. So we'll just see if they sort of guide a little bit lower based on some China worries. But other than that, I think you'd be fine.
All right, Sharif is eager to ruin everyone's day here again. Wow, just go right to that, I guess.
Hideous.
There's a new, what is it? The
Mega,
right, mega horrible Lee thing, 4.25%. It actually held up pretty well today, I'm surprised. After the gap to the upside, we just kind of did nothing all day. They'll go sideways.
The mega horrible quip had me laughing there. Yeah, hideous looking car, but I was talking to one of the traders on the floor here, and he's like, he's from China, and this is what they like over there. It's very functional. The areas are tight, and this is kind of what sells over there. But compare that to this beauty over here. The gravity, the lucid gravity, I feel far better look. But in any event, talking about the actual. News on the day that Li Auto got added to the Hang Seng Index, which is just like saying Airbnb being added to the S&P 500. Good look for them. They're up on the day, breaking through that $40 resistance level. Let's see how they do next week.
Yeah, and the interesting point on that comparison, they're both the same price. If you do the conversion, they're both, or apparently, going to be around that 80,000 US mark. So, lucid or.
Proof's in the pudding. It's like, just look at the charts, relatively speaking. I have Fisker up because this probably illustrates the point better than a lucid chart. But that, again, that's just picking and choosing. Look, it held up really well today, that Li Auto. I didn't really see a trade off of that one. However, Fisker, look, I don't know where the bottom is. I keep saying don't know where the bottom is going to be, but it's starting to get a little parabolic down here. Another 10% to the downside. That's now back-to-back days of almost double-digit losses. I was in went for an SSR bounce play. That's in at 55 and out at 54. Like, there was some size down here at 55, so I actually got in right at 55 even and then just punched out when that size broke, looking for an SSR bounce. As I'm at that point where, at least in this name and maybe a couple of others, I want to start looking for some bottoms. It's got a huge short float. The shorts are continuing to win on this EV name, obviously. And now you have a double bottom at $2.50, 2 days in a row down 10%. So I might try to jump into this. If it kind of bounces off 250 again, I might try like a 51 long with a stop at 49, which is low of the day. But that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. Fisker, yuck. So, I mean, Li Auto, no questions asked. Regardless of what anybody thinks about it, there's no denying the difference between at least this automaker, because NIO's chart's nearly as bad as some of the U.S. ones. There's no difference in terms of looking at the performance of the stock compared to the non-Tesla EV names here, because they're all nasty. Just it's a matter of which one's the worst at this point. But Li Auto looking very good. I hope it gets to 45 next week.
I just want to say thank you so much to all the talk in the chat there. Why Brothers United? You asked if I was red or green on AMD. You can ask us by tagging us anytime if we're red or green on a stock. So I told you I'm barely green on AMD. So thank you so much for asking that. And it does matter because risk management. So I think it's very, very important. So you can do that anytime. Thank you, Sharif. Ponzi Fonzie, you're an energy boss. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are also a boss. Ponzi Fonzie, thank you so much. And then Comp SRX1. Yeah, I told him, I said I'm a bit tired. It's the end of the week. We've had a busy week this week. And so know, Comp RS, SRX1, we don't have showers around here, but that wouldn't be a bad idea. Feel a little bit better, have a shower, you know, maybe do a little workout or something like that, get that blood flowing again. So shout out to Comp SRX1. And yeah, you know, sometimes how you feel can affect your trading. So I would say just, for me, it's never really been the case, but for some people, obviously it is. So you guys know yourself best. And if you're not...
You have to know yourself. I've
right,
seen...
Yeah. So if you're not feeling it, then what I would do is basically relax. We had Obi on the other day talk about how he had a rough sleep or issues with his cat or something like that. And he wanted to sort of calm it down a little bit. And then I know you use that ring thing to judge your sleep and stuff like that. So I think that's
if I have a
shout out to Chef Joe as well.
If I have like a 90, well, it wouldn't be 95th percentile, it'd be like a 5th percentile like recovery. Those are days that I shouldn't be working out. You shouldn't be making like it's not there. Now that being said, in the last since I've been wearing this, it's happened it's been like 3 times when I had COVID and then like 1 or 2 really bad nights. But that's about it. Like on those days, typically you're going to want to be able to back up, but everybody's a bit different. I have seen people come in clearly not 100% before or do some ridiculous stuff at lunchtime. This is over the years. Do some ridiculous stuff over lunchtime and then come and just do absolute stupidness in the afternoon. They have a few pops or something like that, and then you find out it's like, what the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of here. Like it's actually, you see it happen from time to time. So your mental state is going to be affected for whatever reason. You want to be able to respect that. But let's get back up to the desk. We got one more to go over, and it is Roblox, which oddly enough, like it kind of set up like yesterday, but it kind of didn't. Maybe a missed opportunity.
All right, Roblox teetering right now at day lows here after a nice gap to the upside this morning. There was a couple of notes. One was from Goldman Sachs, who actually maintained a sell on Roblox, but did raise their price target. The other from Wolf Research on an upgrade. So we did get the pop initially, but right back to where we ended yesterday, essentially now.
Yeah, you'll recall this one reported back on November 8th, and it had a number of good data points that we can talk about. Revenue was up 38% year over year. Daily active users, the DAOs, big one, 20% year over year. Hours engaged, 16 billion hours in the quarter. That was also up 20% year over year, Brendo. So good metrics there, and it looks like some decision making here, whether to get long or short with some of these bigger money institutions.
Yep, I have good news for everyone. I just confirmed with Michael Noss. Ignore this. Until Monday, so we have all weekend, go take advantage of 30% off over at Trade Ideas. You get everything included in their brand new web app version, all the heat maps, you get the stock information, you get news, the charting as well, obviously. So take advantage over the weekend, 30% off. Ends on Monday, guys.
There you go. Keep that 30 on. We love it. I guess we didn't really tee up Roblox there, but we can talk about Roblox ourselves. Look, yesterday Roblox did pretty much exactly what you wanted at the bottom. So there's a 15-minute. If you look at the last week or so, every time it's gotten down and tagged 37, you look for the long. It did a consolidation. It did everything to the upside you'd want. Consolidation, bounces, then a breakout late. Well, today was more or less looking for the same thing. It just didn't quite get down there. Like it halted at, didn't halt. It stopped the move at 37.80 or so, and then that's been the support. And it is riding that support as the market is at the high. It doesn't make me very bullish about this. It didn't really bounce off the level. It's good that it got from a higher low, but it's not good that it couldn't bounce off that level as the market essentially rose and eventually got green, which it is right now. So I don't know that I like it here off this support level, but were it to break down again and give you 37 this afternoon, that would be a bit of a different story. Just to go over like 2 things, if you're falling in the midday, I still like Palantir long. I just got shaken out of it, I think. This is a big level, this 2040, if you go back on the daily. Right here, so this is all the way back into August, and then we've made a couple of attempts at it. The market's made a couple of attempts to punch through here on Palantir, and it just hasn't. Today, it eked through the top and got about 10 cents higher, but I was buying dips into the 2015 level right in here. Like it dipped in, bounced off VWAP, held this previous high, the opening range high, so I got the long when it held that, then was longing it pretty much at that level. I'm now out of it. I've been waiting for this 2030 level, see if it can't consolidate here, but that'd be a relatively tight stop. Otherwise, I'll buy VWAP this afternoon on Palantir. So good move to the upside for Palantir here today. Definitely a good stock. It seems like it's running out of steam. For whatever reason, it breaks 20 and it cannot get that next push past the 20.5. And this has been happening a few times. At some point it's going to, and I think you just want to be long into it when it happens because it could be pretty explosive the day it does.
Yeah, there's some good dip buys in Palantir. We definitely like that stock. We have a new position though. I just put it in the chat. Let's go. It's Tesla again. So we just bought that Tesla dip down into the 70s. I'm going to take a piece out here just north of 235 if we can get a quick little. I'm at 07 right now. I don't really know why I put it at 07, but we did right there. So that's strange that it just went to like 05 and stopped. So that is a little bit weird. But it's funny because, look, we were shorting Tesla all throughout lunch, and eventually it took it out basically at the top there. So look at this, like short here, 236.50, made money all the way down to 234. Short again, 236, made money all the way back down to 234.50. Then it really started going, and there we go. Now there's another trade right there to get out of. I just got out of half of it. Let's see if this continues to go. We've got big trades on, as you can see, Softy, Amazon, and now Tesla. So more to the long. It's not that they're big trades. It's just that we are big long right now. So there goes Tesla. Again, buy that dip. Nice move to the upside. Was going to average it in down here if we got into the 30s. So, you know, the fact that we're in the money 70 cents now, or sorry, 40 cents in a matter of 3 minutes, probably worth taking. So we'll do that right now, and we'll just continue to watch it. Microsoft is the one that's running out of steam, but I only have 10% left on this position. Actually 5% left on this position because we got that fill at 73. I was feeling bad because it was going up to 40s and 50s, but all good on that one there for Softy as we continue to go. So the only short that we have on is Apple, and Apple's been, again, a pretty decent stock today. Just trying to get these shorts. There's one stop out. There's the other short all the way back in. Started covering down here at 189 off of 189.70. Now I'm being real specific. What? It went that high? What? I thought it was at 90. I'm at 95. So we're waiting for Apple to look at this 190 area. Try to go short in front of that. But, you know, the market just turned around. I mean, it's too bad that we have these crazy candles everywhere. But, all right, you know what? We'll try 189.90 this time against 190. So we'll try it. I was just thinking that, hey, the rest of the afternoon, we're already long. I just thought, I mean, look, we were right. We missed it by 5 cents, and we'd have a 20-cent winner, 30 cents at the bottom. So we'll wait, see if we can be a little more patient with that one, as we are obviously net long now. And then just to talk about our gap trade, I don't know where it's going to go now, but we shorted 18, and now it's barcoding here between 60 and 50. So 50 cents there, we took it as I thought it was breaking VWAP, or that's right at VWAP. So that's why we took that one, and then we'll just have to wait to see what happens afterwards. So for now, it is what it is on these positions, and looking for more, right? I mean, Tesla's a good one, brand new position. Let me just check in on SoFi. This is the only one on the sticky note that I didn't trade there today. My bid is still in there at 60. I might as well cancel it. So there it is right there. There's another sticky note name. Look what we wrote down here. And it's about the ideas, not about the levels. This is SoFi long 660. Like, it went to 665. So, like, you know, would have been good. But again, the risk for me was to take it there and then hold it against 50, which is that bottom. So, little missed opportunity there as we go. It's 2:28. Join me after with Brendo as we will be doing our first ever podcast, followed the next week with Neil and then with Sharif after that. So should be exciting as we start a new venture into podcast land. So that should be fun. You guys have asked for it for a very, very long time. So ask and you shall deliver.
Exactly. It should be a lot of fun. And obviously, you know, it's been a long time coming. We always want to make sure we get things right. So I'm going to preface this. I always talk about this with barcoding stocks. I leave it to the end. Now we can talk about the things that are moving first. Charge point might be down 35%, but it's not really behaving like a stock like that all day long. So I was looking for an SSR bounce, obviously off the $2 level, thinking you could have an explosive move up. Instead, it did this at $2, went sideways. So with the first break up, I took the consolidation long. It popped to 10s, came back into 2s. And someone just has advice to trading charts that look like this. Unless you have direct market access, you're probably not going to want to, because you're looking like this is a long at 1 1/2, where it's moving to like 4 and 5, right? So that's a very specific kind of trade. And then it's like wait for it to get back down into 1 1/2. And if it breaks 2, then you get out. And if it gets up and holds above 5, I have offers all the way upside, like layered to the upside. So it's very much respecting the fact that this could be a 7 or 8 cent range for the entire day. And if that's what it is, fine. If it breaks 2, just punch out. And the thing about a level like that is you can have a stop set, but if I can avoid letting it run the stop and getting 99s, I will just punch out at evens. Like if I see it myself, I just get out at O's and not have to worry about paying 99s. Sometimes you might even get like a gateway where you can get paid a rebate to punch, but that's a bit of a different story. So I just missed a reload in Carvana. Whoops, that's still a New York stock. In Carvana, that's been one stock. For me this morning, I traded off at 2 levels. It was a mixed result. It's been only good at this high, but I want to get this reload off the lower high. I think you can still see VWAP if the market's going to come back in to said downside. Palantir is the long that I want next, almost for sure. I want to give this one a chance. I just don't want this going without us here. So one of these days, we're going to break that top, or it's going to break that top on Palantir.
All right, I'm just going to short Google right now and throw it over to Brendo at the big desk.
Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. I just saw CRISPR popping up once again. Remember, huge move this morning on new deal for the UK on a gene therapy. So shout out to CRISPR. It'll give me an opportunity to tell you about more deals that we have for you as well. 75% off Benzinga Pro. You see everyone on the show mentioning it. Sean talks about it all the time on the recap. Great platform, Benzinga Pro. You can literally just type in CRSP in this case. Pull up all the news you need to know about CRISPR Therapeutics. There's the actual release. They have this great pop-out that you can put this wherever you need it. Charts included as well. 75% off, as low as $49.25. Their Black Friday deal on now, guys. Go take advantage. The link is below.
Yeah, make sure. I mean, I use that all the time on the aftermarket show, so thanks for that, Brendo. And I actually have it up right here as well, if you want to come over to the screen. So I'm just following along with the news. So that's why sometimes I have it a little bit before, not before Brendan, but like if something market's going crazy, I can just look down there and then give it to you. Brendan will research it and then drop it. So very important to have some kind of a news source for sure, I think. All right, so like, I don't really want to be short Google, but I think it's lining up. You're at VWAP right here. I'm not sure about the market. I don't, it's Friday, it's 2:30. I could sort of see this. Like, I thought this was going to be a little bit of a, sort of, I don't want to say an inside day, but just like a nothing day kind of, especially when we were bouncing around. And then we broke higher back into the pre-market highs there, basically. I mean, I know we were higher, but these levels just before we opened. Then we jumped back down to VWAP, but then we held that, and since then we've sort of taken off and then sort of started to make, as you can see, you can sort of draw a line there, was broken back down in there. But so now we have to watch out. I just think that we should pull back into somewhere around here, 15.9. So if that happens, then I'm feeling a little bit better about the shorts. But, I mean, we could also break higher. So on that note, 135. I don't want to complicate things too much with this Google. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could hold it up to like 135.40. But I think if the market goes this afternoon, we've already got Microsoft, we've got Amazon long. But I did want to talk about Amazon because 144.64, which is coming up, we're going to get out. If Amazon breaks this level right here, we're getting out. So this Amazon trade, it's $1.50, it's $1.30 in the money. Was $1? It's actually was almost $2 in the money. We're going to have to give some back if it breaks lower. So we're going to get out of that, finite on that one. And then Microsoft, $1 in the money still, and we already took some out up here at 373, so that was good, and we only have 5% left of this one, so this is a little bit less of a worry spot for me, but I'm still going to drop it off. So if it breaks below 50s right now for Microsoft, then we will get this out. So that is 372.48 or so, and we will take it out as we put our order in right there for softy right now. But Tesla, it's 20 cents in. We could have just reloaded it. Again, trying to wait to see what the futures do. We'll average into this Google trade, but do I have an average? Yeah, 87s. Oh, it's right here right now. Okay, so what we'll take some 87s filled, hopefully, on this one. And then if it breaks 85, breaks 35, then we're out. Just trying something. You don't need to be in anything. What's up, Hamptons Trader? I don't know how you handle so many trades. I actually don't have. I mean, I have a lot of trades on, but they're all very specific. Like today, again, I've only traded like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names, which I know is a lot, but recently because, remember I've been telling you sort of the window, my winning ratio, basically, it's like 6 to 1, 7 to 1, 5 to 1, 4 to 3, things like that. So I'm in the pocket for the amount of names that I'm trading. And again, it's because I'm trying to put on more risk onto ideas that I think are valid, right? And so that's what we're doing right now. Tesla, if you're just wondering where I'm getting out, I'm trying to buy more, actually. So if Tesla does come back into this 333 area, 334 flat area, I want to buy some. And then the drop of 334 for Tesla is where eventually I'm going to get out of this one. But I do feel like the market's coming in here a bit. So what's up, Brendo?
I've heard a few of these today, so worth a note. But Apple, not really doing anything on this, but Apple, there was Lionsgate I heard earlier as well. Apple going to pause advertising on X, guys.
I'll tell you. We'll get back to you, Mr. Westermeyer. So I just got into PT, as you can see there, Palantir. I don't know why I would ever call it PLTR. It's Palantir.
Yeah, why not? That's a good one.
Why? But why? I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
I know. Like TSLA.
yeah, like you call it the ticker if the ticker is cooler or easier than the name. That's the way I look at it. So Palantir.
You know what? You know what name? I'm just looking at my list right now. You would never say Gap.
No, I would say Gap.
You would?
Yeah, I'd say Gap. I'd say Gap.
Oh, really? Okay.
You'd say, yeah, GP. You
No,
know
I
what?
mean, on the show, obviously, I'm talking to the wife. I mean, she spends who knows how much on Gap a month, but it's just like, I always say GP. Like I never say, oh, Gap. Like we say Gap is gapping higher, but I feel like I was just looking at the board to see like what names.
Oh, fun fact for the audience, down to Sky, and I really want to repeat this because I haven't looked at the stock this week, which is weird. Block has risen 50% in the last 15 days since earnings. Okay, so first things first, I did just get into Palantir. The high of the day is just above here, so I want to take some profit in front of said high of the day because I think that's what you do when you get the opportunity. But the other thing worth considering is we should be looking at Square. Got away from trading this one the last week and a half, I would like to say. Up 3% into a flat market. So last I checked, that's relative strength. Look at the move on Square. Now the only downside, it's not really a downside, it's just a reality. $60 is pretty much like an obvious area of resistance, which gets there in $2. So as far as where it goes next, I think it can get to 60, but when you get to 60, you run into some resistance. The 200 period's up at 62 as well. So this is like ring the register level. When the market's at, like the Qs are at a big monster top that it's trying to punch through.
Something's
You
wrong
got
with
a
Tesla.
name up here at 60 that's in play. Tesla? What's going on?
Well, no, something, Brendan, there might be a story on Tesla or something only because of the way it's moving. Like it's just, I've been watching it right here and like look what just happened. Like honestly, there's 2 ticks here. Like it came in, we got long at 234.25, got them out almost immediately at like 60s, and then it broke down lower. What's up, Brandon?
It could be the Apple thing, guys. And like I said, there's been a few of them coming out today. Lionsgate was one of them. I was trying to find the other one. There was one this morning as well, though. But Apple coming out saying they're going to pause advertising on X. So obviously we can't trade X, so maybe negative for Elon.
I'm down with that. I mean, I could understand it.
Yeah, but why should that affect?
Well, because the thing about it is like
it's cult of Elon. So yeah,
well, I was just gonna say too is that if there is a problem with X revenue or something like that, potentially he sells more Twitter or
Tesla
shares to cover whatever.
As a Tesla shareholder, I hate that. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I think it is probably like an overreaction.
If that's what it is,
I'm not going to step in. I just when the stock starts trading, I think it was Adair or Sharif or you or me or Obi or somebody. We always say the same stuff. It's like if a stock isn't trading the way, and that's why I said like just come right over because Tesla's not trading normally. Like it was just kind of chilling out, and then all of a sudden it dropped to $1.50 in like 3 minutes. So that was something that I hadn't been doing.
Well, you know what I did? Well,
Sometimes.
like the second you said that, I was like, hey, are the EVs moving?
Yeah.
And then I'm not making no word of a lie. I pulled up a Rivian. You probably saw as it was going to Sean. I was pulling up a Rivian chart to see this.
Google, though.
74 high, wick to 74
Google.
high, enter into the short here to this stop. I'm like, okay, well, if Tesla's going down, then it's going to give me that trade. It was like 4 cents worth of risk. If it gets to VWAP, even on like remote sympathy, fine. The fact that it's not going, I suppose, lends credence to the logic of that has something to do with the Twitter news. There's a logical path that you can follow to that any pressure for Twitter and any funding is not necessarily good for Tesla because maybe he has to sell more shares, which he said he wouldn't do. But yeah, no, I can. Yeah, I mean, I can see the logic.
We're throwing it out there. I mean, that's the thing about.
I can buy that. I can buy that. I don't like it, but I can buy it. As a Tesla shareholder, it bugs me.
That's sold to you, Teslas. I want to buy more of those. I feel like if it comes down, do you have a rebuy zone? I bought some at 200. I
was
still
pretty
way away from that.
I was pretty convinced we were getting into the 80s, like the 180s on Tesla. So I was
probably still are.
I was kind of waiting for that. I'll be buying it if it gets under $200. But that's what I was waiting for another buy. It's filling in some of my chart, but not the rest of it. I want to get out of Carvana at VWAP. It is getting back down into VWAP. That Rivian that I just entered with a 5-cent stop, it's dead flat. So clearly Rivian doesn't seem to care what's happening over there in Tesla. It is what it is. Palantir, the dip buy, it's basically flat right now, not really moving.
I need that pew pew for Arun because there is
another one.
Another one right there.
Another one.
Nah, we'll just go with 2 for now. All right, so there's Google. You know, like, I mean, there's the flush back in, man. We talked about shorting Google. So right now it's 20 cents in the money. Just gave this allowed to everybody. I mean, hello, we're on the show trading live. So there it is right there. Google, definitely cash money. Let's go. Right now, we'll spin that, man. We'll bring the energy back. And it's a nice move to the downside. And then as this goes down, look, this is why it's no Microsoft, no cry. Because we're out of Microsoft right now. It breaks lower, you take the dollar, we get out of there. Amazon, look at this. This is why, honestly, guys, you save yourself so much money by just, honoring your stops. Like, there's no better way. No better. Only people in Toronto might know that. But, there's like, you can sit here and honestly hold shares until you're stopped out. And we know traders that do that. That's crazy, right? So you got to be able to say, this is my level and this is what I'm doing. So even though we were $1.50 in the money on Amazon, it breaks below that 144.60 and boom, that's the out right there. I can turn around to Patrick right now and he probably knows my price on Google and I'm going to tell him to guess it and he'll probably get it right on. So you guys should know it as well. Look at that, 134.85. Oops, I just told him. That's the price that we're in right there. Look at that VWAP. Nice move to the downside, and now we're starting to cover a little bit back into 50, add some support. So it's 32 cents in the money. It's all about piling it on, and that's what we're doing right now. So I don't know. The market, remember where I said, and again, we could trade futures. I mean, I said that the futures probably have to come down and test what level? 15.9? Okay, so, I mean, that's what it did. So pretty happy, obviously, with the performance of the shorts right now. It's always nice when things work out and always horrible when they don't. So right now we will celebrate this working out. And it's not temporary because I'm here every day.
Yeah, one of the things I'm a firm believer in, as long as you have a good trade thesis, that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like if you like a level and you trade it based on your plan, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But was the plan effective? That's what you have to be able to. And because a lot of traders are going to look at whether or not if you executed your plan poorly, but it would have worked out, and all you care about is your P&L, then you're certainly in that situation going to be scoring yourself a little bit wrong. P&L is going to matter in that case, but that's not going to gain you anything by not evaluating how you followed your plan. So as much as I look at Carvana, it's like, yeah, okay, so it went back down into VWAP, but my intention was to short a lower high because that's the setup. It puts in a lower high, take that trade. I got it here, and that's fine. It ended up working out, but I didn't get it there, and I didn't get it there. So execution-wise, I missed a rollover off of the level that I was waiting all day for. So I was going to get to VWAP. I think that's part of the plan as well. I like taking profits, all that good stuff, but you do want to make sure that you're evaluating how you trade your own plan. at the end of the day. Want to get back. Palantir's holding on, which is good, and this was doing this all day long. And one of the reasons why, I think a few people talked about this in the chat, and I don't know if it's the best way to do this, but here, I'm going to put up one's a 3 and one's a 15, so this is not going to be perfect. But if you looked at what was happening this morning, as there was weakness in the market early, that's the first hour or so of the day, and Palantir was stair-stepping it to the upside. So when it broke out and the market broke out, you could have taken a lot of things long as the market stair-stepped to the upside and tried to go back to green. However, picking the stronger name is always going to be my preference. Whether or not it's my best, like the idea that I wanted to have happen, this was not on my radar early. I had other stocks that I like better, but after seeing the opening range, this set up better than other things to the long side for me in terms of confidence. So that's why I like it long. I'm willing to buy a little bit higher. This will be a relatively tight stop underneath that 30 level, and then play it to the high of the day, and hopefully it'll break out like we want to. Rivian. Look, Rivian, I got in when I saw Tesla make that move. I'm going to pop on the bid here because at the end of the day, if that had been some kind of an EV thing that was going to the downside, this probably would have worked right away. But it didn't. You can see it's going to head right back in. I might lose 3 or 4 cents on that trade. I'll probably take that trade a lot. I love that sympathy play when it sets up risk to reward, because how often are you going to get one of those shots that even if it's a coin flip, if you get a good R&R, and there's a reasonable catalyst, I'm going to take that usually 10 times out of 10. But clearly, that's more along the lines of an Elon story than it is an EV story. And speaking of EVs, that Fisker setup for the bottom, it just broke the low of the day just now. Not a lot of it was a decent amount of volume through the low of the day, but the recovery is not really doing much of anything yet. So if it does recover back through, I do still like along with a stop at the bottom and then just see where it can go. But you like to see more velocity in a stock for an SSR bounce, and you're not really getting it here with Fisker. So I'm out of Rivian. It was a shot on that Tesla drop to the downside that it could fall through. It clearly does not want to have anything to do with what's going on with Tesla.
I was just, like, I keep saying this over and over again, like, I don't want to cover all the time all these stocks. Like, I don't mean cover as in cover them, but I mean, like, get out of them. Like, we just had a huge dip down in on this trade. Like, that's 50 cents. Like, we basically went top right back into the 200 period. And sometimes you have to ask stock, you have to like be like, yo, stock, how far do you actually want to go? Like, does it want to? It never answers your question, so it's kind of irrelevant. But it's like, you got to pick your spots yourself. So there it is right there, the 200 period. And I mean, for us to like sort of call this out for everybody, and again, there's that option. Like, if you are going short with me right there and you're an options trader, maybe you buy the 135 puts, you know, and then when it drops down in 50 cents, like, I have no idea what that comes through. Hopefully pretty soon, we will be able to show you some options trades, and I don't know, I just haven't looked at them. So we only trade equity, and we have to be flat at the end of every single day. So obviously I'm very excited, I think we all are, to learn new methods of trading and new instruments. So like, there it is right there. Like, let's just go. I don't know. I mean, we've been giving these trades out to you. Like, look where we got out of Amazon again. You know, that was a good one. We got out of Microsoft there. Then honestly, I'm not too proud of my Tesla trading here today. But, well, it's just I don't have the short when it went down. I was pretty happy to get out right there on that flash news sort of with Apple and advertising, and then sort of, you know, what we think maybe was happening there with Tesla. So pretty happy to get out of that one. But at the end of the day, you know, you still got to try to kind of have like a bias in for there. And today I just said Happy Friday on here. I didn't really, like, I had Apple short 191. I mean, we've already had that. We had Amazon long at 143. We had that one. We had GPS talk about getting long at 15, but that, I just thought there could have been some profit taking. So instead, it gave me probably a better trade. I mean, we just took 50 cents on it, short at 18. So I think you just got to like continue to look for stocks that are moving around, but like, maybe not super aggressive. Here's one coming back in right now, Shopify, as I see it coming back to hit VWAP on the bid. So Shopify up 1.6%. And again, hit up trade ideas with trade ideas, Trader TV 30, because this just came on my scanner right now. It's a trade ideas scanner talking about stocks hitting VWAP. So right now, this is hitting it, coming right back into 68.30 again for Shopify. So this, again, could be a name. If if you were looking long, unfortunately, these charts, like, it's going to be hard for me to hear. So here it is coming into VWAP again on the 5-minute chart, same thing. 5-minute, 1-minute VWAPs are going to be different, but you know, right now they're pretty close on this stock. So I still feel like this bottom, I'd rather this name, because it's up 1.6% today, break VWAP here, which would give it up, which should panic some traders that are holding the long in this name, then start bouncing around 68. So I've already called the move down 40 handles from the NASDAQ back into 15.9. We took advantage of that by shorting Google. So that was good. We made that money, obviously. So remember when it was up here, I was like, you know what? I still feel like we tested VWAP, went up, came back that level, upside, made a new high. Feels like we need to test that level one more time. And we just did that. But I actually think now, I don't know. It's not. It's testing. It went back up, failed 15.9, and now we're at 15.9. So feel like maybe we could start to head to the downside a bit. So I'm still going to stay in the pocket here. Google's still there. GPS is 26 cents. Apple is the one that oh man. Okay, I'm still waiting for 95s. Actually, Apple's holding out pretty good. Apple 0.2, market 0.2. What's ES? 11. So
TLT's bouncing at a key level.
you know what? Yeah, okay, so okay. So
Well, I shouldn't say bouncing. It's at a key level.
didn't look at the dollar yet.
Potentially bouncing
I'm
off
canceling
90.
that Apple idea.
So yesterday, again, look, 15.9 is also here in the NASDAQ, so just to get that out of the way. I'm not saying it's going to bounce here, it's just that that's previous high. It was a higher low put in, and it's at that level. It's already bounced once and got a little bit higher, and then coming right back into it. I just got out of Carvana, but I would have regardless because it was at VWAP. So bullish looking chart, fade play into VWAP. That's going to be the way that I trade these when it's going really, really strong to the upside, which on my 15, see, I'm not missing the data on my 15-minute chart. The 15 is just trusty. It just is. The range is yesterday's range on it's 31, and then the afternoon high up here. You can respect 33, it never got there, and then the afternoon high, and that's all. But you also have to remember that this dipped down into this 32 right near the close and managed to bounce again. So you know, in 32, 70s, 80s up at that high, and then you're able to get this at VWAP. If it goes higher, maybe I can reload that short. I have no idea. And there was another question about charge point. Why be in it? I've been in it for a while. I am not going to add to this position. Like, it's way too late in the day. It's clearly not really wanting to give you more than a couple cents. I won't be adding to it. I'm just offering to get out, and I will punch out if it breaks too. D-Loaf said Rivian's moving. Well, it's moving without me. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, you meant moving the other way. Oh, all right. That was a decent out. But again, like I punched short because Tesla went to the downside. And Rivian, this is why you trade with an out. Because Rivian now up 3%. Where are we headed here? Okay, yeah, that's still a pretty bearish looking chart overall. But I think you're headed to like 17.25. There's still room to run if it gets up into this range, like 17.25. This is relatively strong. Thinking whether I want to reverse. I do want to reverse into this. If it comes back down into where it was consolidating, this is a long chart. It's higher lows the entire way through.
Yeah, I was just reviewing some notes. Brendo and I will be talking about said Rivian a little bit here tonight. So we'll just watch out for that. Join us for the podcast immediately at 4 o'clock. So we go from this show to another show, and that's that podcast dropping Saturday morning. But you can watch it live with us, right? So that's going to be a hot thing come through on that one. We just took. Again, like I wish I could find some. Is there anything else you guys want me to look at? First of all, Bills versus Jets this weekend. Predictions. I mean, you have to take the Bills. I mean, I don't have any faith in the Bills, and I'm sure I can have blind faith in them.
I'm keeping my damn mouth shut on this one.
Because you don't want to lose to the Jets, but you already did. No.
Yes, we did already lose to the Jets. Every time I run my mouth about how the Bills are going to, I always say the Bills are going to win. When the Bills sucked, I would say the Bills are going to win. So
that's what I mean. It's like it's hard to be unbiased, but the thing about it is like
broken, stupid Bills.
Yeah, you have to sort of sometimes play. It's kind of like stocks. Like you got to play the momentum. The Bills right now aren't playing that well, but they do have a new OC. So let's see if that can help out Josh Allen over there. And but he still has to make better decisions.
Well, I mean,
we all know that.
Was it Ken Dorsey's fault that Gabe Davis can't catch the ball?
I don't.
Probably not.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
12 men on the field. That's his fault too, right?
That's ridiculous.
12 men on the
I
field.
don't understand sometimes what they're doing over there.
Where was the special teams? Anyways, you know what the crazy? There's a trading analogy for everything. you practice, look, that's something that gets, that exact moment is something that gets practiced probably multiple times a week for an NFL team. So to make that mistake with the game on the line, that's like going through the mechanics of, I'm going to go long on Neo in front of 7. I'm going to get long at 01s and 02s. I'm going to throw my stop at like 98 or whatever. And then it gets down there and I fumble on my keys and I accidentally go short instead of go long when I've been talking about that long for a month now. That's what the Bills did. You can't control what's going to actually happen. The other team makes a field goal or doesn't, or what they do, but you can control your level of preparation. You can make sure you have 11 guys on the field. You can make sure you have your keys ready. What gateway am I going to go long at this level? What price am I going to bid when it gets down there? Where's my stop going to be? How many shares am I going to take? Where am I going to take my first profit? Those are all things you can plan and prepare for. And as a teaching show around here, maybe we could all teach the Buffalo Bills how to be better prepared for obvious situations that you know are going to come up in the future. So that's my rant for the day.
They should be better prepared.
Okay. If they lose to Zach Wilson, I just do a wellness check on me or something on Sunday.
Well, we already tried to do one on, well, I mean, yeah, 'cause losing to the Broncos and then the Jets, it could happen, dude. So don't worry about it. We'll see if it does. Microsoft, Tesla, look at Tesla, trying to think about a trade here, not working out. I said I'd look in the chat, but like, ARM, all right, well, we'll have a look at ARM here, see what's going on with ARM.
Oh, its volume was bad today.
55, okay. 55 seems like it's a high number here for ARM. Yeah, up 1%.
Oh, it's moving.
Oh, it's
right
56.
now. 56 is a big one.
Yeah, this is the one right there. I was thinking about buying some ARM there on their earnings because again, it's like the same thing I said about Amat. It's just it's going to be in the right space. It's just you got to get the right price. And because this was a recent IPO, and IPOs have been hot garbage for the last 3 years, this name kind of no surprise, but it's actually holding out quite nicely since their IPO. So hard to blame that. It was something like 80. I tweeted something out last week. It was like 89% of all the IPOs that have hit the market in the last, I think it was from 2020, but it could have been from 2021, are underwater, meaning below the price that they came out at, let alone, I mean, most of them are down 80+%. I'm just talking about above the zero mark. I don't think there's virtually, I mean, can we quickly try to think of one? An IPO that's above its IPO price?
Oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the thing. But again, that kind of happens. You know, it kind of happens. Like Palantir went below 9, it got to 7, and now it's at 20. Sometimes if you're doing an IPO, you kind of got to wait for it. So Neil and I can't think of any of them, but I'm sure
what price was Mobileye again?
Would be able to do one. MBLY.
I just called up on. I'm going to pull it on my.
I mean, that could be. When did that one come? That was that would have classified, right? That was in 2022.
Is it?
Yeah, that should.
Does that count? Or is that too? Or
no, that's fine. Mobileye is. Mobileye came out at $29. It looks like.
Yeah,
it's at 41. Oh, I don't even have Mobileye up. MBLY.
Oh shoot! Why can't I close it?
And this wasn't an IPO, really. It was. Well, I guess it was. It was an
IPO, but obviously Intel spun it off and then IPO'd.
That one had a little bit of history, but yeah.
I only know that because I was waiting. My entire intention was based on, and a lot of it was based on that stat, and the way IPOs were going was, hey man, if they're all going to the downside, then why be the sucker that buys it when it IPOs? You can just wait for it to be in the teens, which is what was happening on all of them, and then you can get into the stock. I then proceeded, knowing that I wanted to own this for my long-term portfolio, I just watched it go, and I watched it go, and then it doubled up, and I'm still not in this thing, and then it pulled back. I eventually bought it at 35, and you can probably imagine if you're dollar cost averaging, you've been getting a lot of 35 if you bought it every quarter. You just might as well wait for that. So I'm not going to add to this thing again, but I do own the stock at 35. But the lesson to be learned is I could have wet the beak when it broke out here. I could have wet the beak when it double tapped 30 and been long at 30. It is what it is. I just got into that whole bias of IPOs are going down, wait for them to go down, and then get into them. I just saw something that I might like. If we just wicked 15.9 on the futures in here, and this is weird to say, but Affirm is like pseudo strong today. It's up 1%. Look at the way it held on to the close, like yesterday's close, right on the line, and now forming a bit of a wedge here on Affirm. It's making a bottoming pattern off that 27 level. It just looks like a cheeky little breakout on Affirm if the market wants to get back into these highs. Like it could take out, it looks like 87 or 90. It's more like, yeah, it's like 88. they could take that out, and then you've got like 20 to 30 cents of upside here and only about 10 cents down into VWAP. So I got my eyeballs on this. It's got like 7 candles in a row on a 3 minutes. So for the last 20 minutes, it's only been going up. I think I might like this one for a punch long. Risk 10 to 15 cents. If it gets to the high of the day, the futures probably need some help to get to that top, but that's a possibility. I want something which I think is strong. I don't know if I get that Carvana reload short, but if it gets back up there, I take my shot. But Affirm up 1% to its credit. It got smoked yesterday.
All right, in a Affirm, Upstarts, PayPal, Square, all these names. We're just gonna go like the opposite way and go to like a company that controls the whole market instead of being controlled by short floats. Apple right here, I mean, it's back to 190. We wrote down here that we don't even like the short till 191. We hit this short early, and then we hit it again. So now we're back into it. Okay, well there it is. I mean, maybe we should just take 10 cents. I don't know. There it is. Okay, we'll take some 90s. I mean, I'm just gonna start hitting the keys again. Just start to get out. I mean, this is what I do. Hi, I'm Sean. I mean, pretty much scalper all the time. So right there, so we're just gonna start scalping some out. And again, trade this with your own thing. Like my short is at 98. So we just shorted that, and then my out was going to be roughly 10 cents. So like, give it a little bit of a bump through 190, let it try to settle down, and then blast. So we're just gonna wait to see. So I'm just covering. So I just covered there. I actually didn't cover as much as I thought I did. We didn't get the 88 fill. We only covered 10%. Oh, we covered 20%. So we just got the 88 fill. So we covered 20% as it starts to push back in. We also do cover right now a little bit more. Thank you, of Google right there. So we just covered a little bit more Google. That was a good short off 135. And right now, there's Apple, 190. We said we'd wait for it. Let's just bid an 86. We'll get out another 10%. And again, we're just scalping because I do think it breaks. Like one more move up. Like the futures failed right there again at the 50 period. One more move up, and Apple's taking out 190. And then it's going. So I don't. If we could scalp it out, I said we're not bored or anything, but it's like, a little bit, but you got to be able to find stocks to trade. And it's Friday, it's been a good day. It's been a fantastic week. And I'm getting focused as well for the podcast, so make sure you join us after that. But at the same time, I mean, I'm comfortable trading this. Here it goes. If it breaks out, I told you we just got out of 30% of it. So if it breaks up, we'll lose on the last 70%. But at least we had fun losing money. So we'll wait to see what happens here. 189.90 was basically the low as it got. We got some out at 88 and 89 there. Pull back into the 50 period would be fantastic. So if you can get a pullback into 80s right there for Apple, I think that's a great cover. Look at it, barcode, break, short. Now we'll see if we can cover some back in here. But again, the momentum. See what I said? If we take this 50 period, Apple's very strong. Very, very strong, I feel like.
Rivian's really going right now.
Is Rivian really going? I mean, Tesla.
And there's volume.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got Elon Musked right there. So any news that happens about Twitter, I guess this is what's going to happen. So, like, there's our long. It would be $1 or so now, but what are you going to do? It came out, and we respected our stop, and that's what you have to do. So no ill feelings at all about that one, but I am getting ill feeling. We'll take a 92. There, I just took a 92 on Apple. So I don't want to do that. Here it comes, pullback. We are bidding 86s, and then I said if we got an 87, we'd be pretty happy. So let's put an 81, and then look, I'm putting another bid at 75. That's it. We just put 3 bids out in 5 seconds. Let's see if they fill. Let's go Apple, bidding 86s, bidding 81s, bidding 75s.
I just found something I might want to trade, and it's not the direction that I sat down this morning I think I would want on the stock, and it's Roblox, and it's a short on Roblox. Roblox actually broke the low now, and as the market was trending higher, Roblox was breaking its bottom. There's still room to 37. I do think 37 is support, but it's above 37.5. And any consolidation underneath this low, like that put that low right at 10 o'clock, it put this low at 37.70 and just wicked 37.70. So that's a setup for me to be able to take 60s, or I mean in the 60s, it's actually at 63 where I'm offering, and then just get out if it breaks into the 70s here. So I'm going to get on this offer. I like it. I do want to be, like, you know what? Rivian's going to get to 17, which Rivian is likely to get to 17. I don't like speaking in certainties. You guys know that. So I'm going to get into that Roblox and pop over to Rivian, which I'm still bidding.
Joe Burrow
It's just a
out
matter-
for season. That's going to suck for our friend.
Ooh, that's rough. I mean, you never want to. Joe Burrow seems like a really good dude, and obviously the Bills are, Cincinnati's a bit of a rival, but that sucks for Joe Burrow if he's out for the whole year. That's rough. Rivian is super strong. I want to be in here off this previous high. I don't know if it's going to give me the dip, but your price matters, like where you get into these things. And I don't want to chase it. It's at 9. If it's in the 90s, it's way too tight to 17 for an entry in power hour for me. I'd rather see how it responds to the $17 level. A firm just popped in, so you know what that means. It means it broke out this local top. So let's see if it can go. As Sean kind of mentioned there, which I didn't really say explicitly, a firm has a bit of a short float, which you may not be surprised to know. So if it does start going, I'm using a little bit of that to break a consolidation and see if we can't get into the high of the day. So I'm going to have offers onto the high of the day and see how far this one can go. If the market gets to the top, I think this shouldn't have any trouble going. But I like the fact that it was making higher lows into this with some pretty steady buying over there. On the 3-minute, you can see a few pullbacks, but on the 15-minute, it was pretty much all green on a firm. So I want to get this one, see if it can't make that power move as we get into power. I just asked Brendan if there was anything really happening on Rivian. Doesn't seem like there is. It's just kind of going. Maybe it's just like a technical break. I don't know, relief rally, whatever you want to call it. I think it can fill this gap into the 17 to 17.25 range, but I'd rather it dip and then give me a fill down around 80.
Yeah, I was just reading that. It's too bad about Joe Burrow, but that's good.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Okay, so again, what doesn't suck is what we're doing on Apple right now. It's 17 cents here. I just put an 81 there. I canceled the 81. I put an 83. So we'll take that fill right there at 83 cents. It's, that we're bidding there now. Let's just see if it falls back in. Google's making the move back as well. Okay, that was pretty good. We got to bid that as well there on Google. So we'll see if we can get a bid right there. So again, every time you have like a big candle like that just goes around. You need to be able to take something out because that's price action that can't be ignored for a scalper, right? So that's what we're doing. We're continuing to scalp out. I have 199 fills today. But I have 99 problems, and a podcast ain't one because that is starting today. And Brendan and I are very, very excited to bring that to you, as we all are, as we get ready to rock and roll with that. Should have a lot of fun doing podcasts. I mean, I'm kind of sad that I'm on a podcast once every 3 weeks, but maybe I'll slide in there every once in a while. Yeah, we'll start it off today. We'll see how it goes, and then we'll build on it from there, right? So pretty exciting news coming through there about the podcast. We all got to take turns. All right, Apple. We talked about that. Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon. That was a good cover, I feel like, on Amazon. But are we ready to get long yet? Like, there's the cover. That's the long off the sticky note 143. If you're joining me right now, follow me at TraderTV Sean. If you're following me, maybe you've seen me on Twitter or on Insta as well. We had a lot of fun last night. I could probably find that picture. A bunch of us went out to King Taps last night. I'd probably find that in a minute. All right, Gap, GPS, Apple. What else you guys want to look at? Thank you, Elon. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Yeah, this was in this show. Basically, I was gonna do this show by myself. I was in Paris, and then they called me. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna, combine you with Neil here because we've been friends for so long." I was basically teaching. This is how the show started, and now it's a podcast. All of a sudden, we're adding on to a podcast, but it just started with me teaching offices worldwide, and then it was like, CEO of the company here, Day Trade the World, was like, well, you can't teach, because I would literally be doing this, but showing trades and explaining the software and really just growing the community with Day Trade the World and just showing, how to trade and new traders and things like that. So, I was teaching offices throughout, like Nigeria, I think was one of the last ones I did, one-on-one, travel all around the world, opening up offices. And it was just like, as soon as COVID hit and a little bit before that, we were like, well, we got to get this to more and more people. So then we were like, okay, let's turn it into a show. And then that's where we brought Neil on board. So there's some
You're not telling it right.
So there's some, I said the Paris part.
Oh, you did? Oh, you said the Paris?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
So I was in Paris, and then it was like Sunday night. It was like, we're going to do that Prestige Worldwide. That's right, Dan McIsaac. That's hilarious. As we go on, that was sort of the story behind the show. And then it was just, let's show the trades. Let's do this. Let's talk about it. It's taken me a while to sort of build up the strategy that you guys are seeing here today, being able to put on trades and show you guys. Every day I'll have a couple dollar in the money winners, and I feel like that's, kind of what the purpose of the show is to show you guys that, you can scalp like I'm doing now with Apple and Google, and that you can also, find free resources on the internet. I mean, there's so many people out there that are charging you for stupid alerts and things like that, and that happens, and people do get not scammed, but you could do a lot of the work yourself. So sign up for our watches.tradertv.live, and we put a lot of effort into this, and that's why we're giving you what we learned. Try to teach you guys. We've developed that midday show into something that it's never been before, and that was like a strictly educational standpoint where Adara is going to be in sim mode, and Sharif. So, there's going to be a lot of back and forth talk and a lot of changes coming. So make sure you like and subscribe, because then you're going to get notified of new things that we're doing. The midday show is going to have two aspects to it. Eventually, they're going to show, you guys always ask us for what are our positions in the middle of the day. And I actually feel bad, because Sharif's always asking me, and then sometimes, I'm interrupting him. So we're going to have a stream of our positions.
Yeah, instead of just posting in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of
people always ask in the chat, we're just going to post it in the chat. It's easy enough to do, but there's a better way to do it, and that's what we found.
Yeah. So I just want to say thank you so much, Hampton's Trader. I appreciate all the nice words, and Michael Lloyd, best show hands down. Look, I mean, that's what we're doing. Look how chilled out I am, and we have in the three positions, all in the money, all doing well for us, and explaining them all too, right? This Google trade, we put it on right in front of you, and it told you why. It's why I'm yelling back to this Patrick dude all the time, because I want people to make money and to graduate and to know that these trades are possible. So it's all about friendships, building them, making connections, having a good time where you work. But at the same time, you want to be able to make money. The problem with trading is 99% of people don't make money. So you have to be patient, and you have to learn. And hopefully you're able to do that. And hopefully the experience that we bring to the table every single day helps you out. So that's that. And we'll move on and pass it over to Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, and part of that is you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Great song, by the way. I want to get to affirm while that happened, it was very quick. And it was up, it broke, it tagged 25. I already had an offer at 25, and then, so I offered 25 even, that's here, then an offer up here at that peak. If it broke that, then I was gonna get some out up there. It tagged the first one, dropped right back into my dip. Now, when you hit first target, I move stop up. So if stop was here before, stop goes in here. So I reload in front of that stop. It's 83. So take the reload at 88, and then stop is now at 83. I still had some on board from this original fill, and then I'll see if I can't get back into 25. But I have to respect the range that it put in at this particular moment. So I'll respect that range. If that's as far as it wants to go, then that's what it's all about there. The VMVE. What's that acronym stand for? I know what it stands for. MVP stands for, obviously. You let me know. Day trading is a lonely business at home, so you guys are my coworkers. That's the idea. That is 100% the entire idea, is to be able to, on a trading floor, which, quite frank, just to be honest with you, I started out as a prop trader on a prop floor. I never had to trade I got to trade firm account. I got to sit with other traders. I've never been off of this floor. I've had the benefit of always having that all around me. So I think I'm pretty fortunate to have had that, because I don't think I would have been doing this long. I can't say for sure, but I don't think I would have been doing this long if I hadn't had all of that. And so that's the idea. We're bringing the trading floor to everybody every single day. That's the nature of it. That's what we want you guys to learn. Process is going to be, you're going to see the process, because process is everything in my opinion. So we keep giving you guys that every single day. I saw someone say, yeah, Mr. Westermeyer, rest in peace, Kenny Rogers. The guy is amazing. I'm not a huge country dude, but let's be real. Kenny Rogers was legit. If this breaks back down to VWAP on a firm, just to give you an idea of my thought process, the way that this pulled back, I've made the dip buy. Either it goes here or we ain't going. Like, it looked really strong like 5 minutes ago, and then you had a rejection at $25 even at 315 at the end of the day. So if this can't go right now, it's a relatively tight stop on the way back in. Rivian also popped back into the downside. Now, Rivian, for reasons unknown to me, decided that the second I was out of this stock, it was going to start to go relatively ham. I don't really know. If I had known it was going to do this, I would have reversed long. But I'm respecting this level here. That's the previous high, and I'm dipping into it, giving it to 1680. It's a relatively tight stop on Rivian, and then there goes a firm. So it's a really tight stop, and I understand you could give it more room, but the way that it fell, I only wanted to risk like 2 cents on the way back in. It seems really petty, but the way it rejected 25 says if I'm going to dip buy it, I'm doing it with a very tight stop. It has to be perfect. While that was happening, the market pulled slightly back. I got into that one short that I'm in is Roblox. Again, down 2%. I would have liked it long at 37. It never gave it to us. So curl into this short off of 70. It just got into the low of the day, which was 57. I took it out in front of 57 at 59. So one out on Roblox. Next bid's in the 40s. And if you're wondering why we like these levels, I'll be all out if it gets to yesterday's low. Like, if it gets anywhere, if it gets to this price, I think the short is done at that particular price. So I'm short here at 64. My stop is just above 70. If we make a fresh low, great. If the futures run down, this is the one I've got. I don't really have another short idea outside of something setting up here very late on Carvana. CVNA, we got in, we got out. Looking for that next opportunity on Carvana. I would have thought maybe you could bounce off VWAP and get back to these highs. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Okay. So I'm bidding down here on Google. I'm bidding 45s. Here it comes. Hopefully it's going to be 45 cents. All right, there it is. So it does fill us at 45, so that's good. All right, so we'll move on that one. Next bid, 36s as we continue to go. So far, so good on that one. And then there it is again right here for Apple, making the move back down. Today, 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, 5 for 5, 6 for 6, 6 for 7. So 6 and 1 today again. And like those of you that watch every single day, it's just, I'm not making this shit up. Like, this is what's happening.
Language.
Like language, exactly. So it's just like, this is the truth, right? This is what's happening every single day. So some days not, but lately, yes. So just stay with what you're doing. The market hasn't been that great, okay, for sure. All right, I know it's not. We talked about this the other day. It's like it's not a great month for many traders. It's not, the market has been good. Sometimes when it goes one way, it's pretty tough. If you don't get that move in the morning or you go off sides in the morning, sometimes you can get shut down immediately. It's tough. And we have an advantage here for sure to be able to scalp. So some of the stuff that we do, it's not for everybody, but take advantage of the system that you have right in front of you. Like, to be able to short Apple there at 190, like, that doesn't really do anything for anybody other than me, because like you guys, like, that's not, unless you have this platform where we don't pay really any execution fees, and in fact we'll make money on our executions because add liquidity. Like when I'm bidding here 90s right now and it fills me, you get paid $2 per 1,000 shares. So there are going to be some clearing costs and some execution costs and things like that we're going to have to deal with from Day Trade the World. Borrow costs, there's some little things, but it doesn't, the fact of getting the rebate by adding liquidity is more than all of those costs. So like when I shorted this up here at 97, I got paid to make that trade. If I had to pay $10 or something like that per trade. Now, a lot of you probably not going to pay that much, hopefully, especially if you're day trading or scalping like this. But it doesn't, Apple's an expensive stock. So if you're going to short 1,000 shares, you're going to need 200 grand to do that. And then there's no way you're going to do that for 20 cents. So being on a prop floor right now, it's, you know, we don't have that sort of extra pressure behind us to put money in there and then have to hold it for a larger move. So that's where, you know, sometimes scalping out. But like I told you, that's the difference here. Because look what's happening to Google, right? So scalp out a couple here as you come down. But then as it comes down, let it bleed a little bit. So here's 50 cents. So this is probably something that you guys can put on. You know, so that's something else, you know, to identify here today. We'll be green on the day. It's a good day. But again, scalping for me required here in the afternoon as really nothing's moving. Look at the futures. So I can understand how people wind up losing in this market. It's a tough one. And I feel blessed to be able to do what I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's one of those, the only thing that matters is the ratio of your winners to losses. Like, you know, like make sure when you lose, it's not for more than what you win. We appreciate the super chat, Spark Chop. You know what I'm going to ask in a second, but I'll read you super chat before I do it. Thanks for the great week, getting better and better, trading with discipline like my hero Neil. You guys are my hero for coming here every day and being willing to sit through us like pontificating. By the way, we talked about like discipline. This was my out. I said 70 breaks, I get out. I reloaded at 68 and got out at 71. I was able to get profit down here at 58 even, but you saw Roblox in there. I use hard stops. I think we always talk about this, do you trade with a mental stop or a hard stop? I use more or less hard stops all the time. There are situations where I would sit there and stare at the stock and punch it out myself. I don't mean punch literally, someone called me out on that. I just mean aggressively cross the bid or the ask and get out. Sometimes I will do that. 99% of the time I'm using a hard stop to get out. I set it, I don't move it, I leave it in there. Have a great weekend, we'll see you on Monday. Well, I'm Spark Shop, I'll give you one more. I'm hoping you'll stick around because it is the inaugural podcast after the show. So the weekend, or you know what, if you got to take off, you can always consume the podcast tomorrow morning when it gets released.
Yeah.
Let me double check what time. I don't know what time in the morning it's getting released. But either way, tomorrow morning it's getting released. It's going to be an absolute blast. We're all really looking forward to it. I do hope you check it out. But before we do that, there's one more thing we got to take care of business with, and that's...
Hola, like and subscribe today.
Today?
Yeah, you thought I was going to hit the Sharif one, didn't you?
No,
I can be nice. Like, and the fun thing about it is like Sharif and I have this like back and forth, and it starts when he walks in the door in the morning. It's all love and it's just all fun. It's just you gotta have that kind of thing. There were traders we used to mess with. I mean, I won't say any names back in the day because Sharif's here. We can talk to him all the time. But there's traders we would mess with on a daily basis, and they had the trade nicknames. Not to get into it too much, but like. You know, certain people would have over-the-top reactions to winners and losers, specifically losers, and say pretty funny-ish that we'd love to imitate when they would take a losing trade, which is all in good fun because you never mock a person when losing. Or when guys would be on a hot one and they would be so afraid to go to the bathroom that they would sprint back and forth to the bathroom, and we'd laugh at them when they fall on their faces, which was always good. But let me get back over to some trades. I am out of that short. We just talked about that, but I'm still sitting in Rivian. Rivian, one of the few stocks that's putting on a power move. It manages to hold on to this consolidation just barely. But when I see this, it's now 323. I have offers to get to the high of the day. I no longer think it's going to go too much higher. Like Sean said, this is your range. It's not much, and it's not really doing a heck of a lot. So instead of giving it, hey, let's give it a bit of a wider berth. In this case, wide berth was like 10 cents. I think it's shown me a bottom. I will tighten it up to 6 cents from 10 cents, and I will take less on the trade. It's just a bit of an adjustment here because the market is moving a heck of a lot less than I would have expected. So I'm going to tighten up the stop and try to take a little bit less on that move in Rivian if it does happen. But there's one more to get to, and before we get there, Rage TV just said, did I not say Tesla was about to pop? He apparently did. I'm kind of hoping this time Rivian follows Tesla. But I've got my stop in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But Tesla, with that move in here, and 70 cents right now constitutes a pop for Tesla. Most days it doesn't. But right now it does. And that's another thing about trading in the environment that you're in. You can want Tesla to move $5. Tesla is more than capable of moving $5 under normal circumstances. It has this morning multiple times. It is not going to move $5 here today. So you have to be able to change things. That usually means a little bit of a tighter stop notionally, and then just give yourself reasonable profit targets. Because if you sit there waiting for a home run move to happen in this market, well, it's not going to happen these afternoons. You got to be in that different scalp mode.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We are scalping out. And again, like, I mean, I could talk about Google. Like, look at this, all out here at the 200 period. There's nothing else we can do. You know, we short up there, we cover it right there, we short. Like, look what we did on Google this afternoon. We shorted the top and bought the bottoms. Like, there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do.
Something's happening in ARM.
Short the top. Yeah, maybe. Phil McCracken wanted me to talk about right now, ARM, AMC right now. So let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, you know what? Touching the top of the day, unfortunately, it's only it's down again to that $7 mark. I mean, this name, we talked about this when it was up here. We looked at this $11 area. We talked about shorting it. We talked about why $11 is important because it's basically $10 is $1, but you know, give or take, it's right in there. Couldn't get going through that. Remember, this name is reverse split. There it is right there, 250 all the way up. Again, so there, okay, so I do want to talk about, we just did get stopped out of Apple. We had 30% left. We talked about that. Stopped out of Apple as it breaks 190. And we did cover some more there on, I mean, the market's busting up a little bit. Google's still in the pocket, so that is fine. Wish we were long or something right now. But there it is. You know what? I like AMC until it breaks this level, which, man, is this $7 level on Monday. We'll write that down and we'll look at this when we come back on Monday because, like, that's going to be a problem. So you gap higher, and then now you're right back there again. Like that's a problem. So I don't know, Phil, man. I don't like it. Today, even though it's making its move back up to the high of the day, it's already been here. It's only done, well, actually, I was going to say 10 million shares. I just figured by the way this looks, it hadn't done that much. 10 million, I guess, is fine, but it's only a $7 name. I don't know what the catalyst would be now. I mean, obviously, heading into Christmas, there's always Christmas blockbusters and things like that. So I guess, you know, that could spark a move here, an AMC Entertainment or Holdings. So I don't know, I like it, but at the same time, I don't. Like, I like it today, it's up. But I just feel like if you break that level, Phil, it's a problem. I wouldn't hold this over the weekend. Like, I don't like AMC, and if you guys are in this name, I'll do this for you because I want everybody to win. But they've already reported, they've already come out. We talked about Taylor Swift. We talked about like all the bumps that could happen there. They did happen. We had Danielle Shea on the show in the recap show. We talked about her position in this as well. She took the L hoping for the same similar thing for a bump up through, but it never broke that $11 mark. And when that doesn't happen, you have to get out. So now you're below the 50-period moving average and looking to go lower. Unfortunately, Phil, I can't say that AMC looks good here because I don't think it does.
You can't, you know what, just to double down on that, you can't turn like a swing or a momentum play, like a short-term play like that, into a hodl. Like all of a sudden, I'm just gonna. Don't turn yourself into I'm never getting out of that stock kind of person. Like if you make a trade, it doesn't go. It doesn't go. Like you've seen it time and time again. Like I think Rivian was strong this afternoon, but if it goes 2 cents lower, I'm getting out. I don't know. So ARM is almost at 56, and the question I have to ask myself is, do I still like to short at 330 on ARM? I've never really traded it this late, but this is exactly where it rolled over for us the last time.
Blam.
But I have a hard time believing ARM does this on nothing.
You know what? Maybe there's
there's something.
I believe there's an index thing, maybe. I'm just throwing it out there because
that's believable.
You know, the fact that ARM is making this move right now, I could see that there is an index possible move.
Would this
here.
already be in like an MSCI or something, which is this month? No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It seems like the reality is, I've said this before, ARM is going to go into every index that it can. Like whatever index it's eligible for or whatever ETF, it's going to be in it. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen. So strong move for ARM. As mentioned, I tightened up the stop. We'll see if it ends up being the right decision, but I tightened up the stop in Rivian as it was dipping back in. Would have liked to have got it on the way to the upside, but when I'm catching it on the bounce, it didn't bounce that much. So it showed me that bottom, fortunately, and we're able to just tighten that stop on that name. Got to get out of it when the getting is good. I don't think we get that Carvana opportunity again. It's now rolling through VWAP. Could have maybe taken the higher low here. you know, sometimes like your price is your friend and you want the price that you want. So I wanted up at that top. That was a level I liked all day long. We didn't get it. SoFi is at the high of the day, says Tony Price. I hit enter too fast.
SoFi, no.
No, of course it is. It's actually, it's not at $7 yet. It's, there we go. The third time it's gonna, when I hit enter the third time, it's gonna work. SoFi, as far as I'm concerned, if it's bouncing off the bottom of the channel, why wouldn't it get to the top? It's a short up here, it's a long down here. This time, it doesn't even test every single time. Like, so since it touched the bottom, it got to the bottom, effectively got to the bottom. This last bounce, it didn't quite make it to the top, so it's kind of bearish in that regard. But it didn't even get to the bottom of the channel today. This time. And, well, also today. If it gets back around that $8 level, I think you are looking short until proven otherwise. But remember what happened when, like, Intel broke its channel like this. AMD broke a channel like this, a downward channel, and went absolutely ballistic after it did for a day or two. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is able to break out through 8, it would do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought some SoFi yesterday in the personal account. I mean, it's only up, what is it up as a percentage today? 2.5, so that's good. Okay, I mean, I'm not getting out of it, so it really doesn't matter. Here's the graphic for the podcast, pretty cool. Make sure you join me and this guy here. I tagged him, at TraderTV Brendan, also tagged in here. Shout out to that. You know, here's SoFi. You know, we haven't had SoFi on the sticky note for very often. We put down 660. For the long, which is the L, and then we'll take an L on it because we don't have it, so we take a 0 on it, which to me is an L because we wrote it down there. It just didn't hit the level. There's so many times that this will happen. It comes back in. It hits 665. You know, so again, I missed the call by 5 cents. Fine to do that. You know, this is why we talk about understand the position sizing and whatever you guys want to do. Like that was a risk. But you take it and you just, it's only up 20 cents, you know, so let's hold on to that level for Monday. The other thing about AMC, I was just thinking, shout out to Phil and everybody else out there. I didn't read this in the chat or anything. Well, I read what Chef Joe said. He's like, if it doesn't move on Taylor Swift, move on. I think that that's probably true. But the thing about AMC is, I'm going to go to Brendan in a second, is that it's a short week next week. So I do think that with holiday season upon us now with Thanksgiving in the United States there, Black Friday and all that, more people shopping, more people potentially hitting the theaters. So, all right, what's up, Brendan?
Heavy volume downside here from Microsoft. The overall market just went red on the day as well. OpenAI just announced that Sam Altman will be leaving the company, which is the CEO, if you hadn't heard. But that's surprising, to say the least, for OpenAI, but also Microsoft. So heavy selling here, guys.
Okay, so yeah, OpenAI CEO leaving right now. I don't know why.
And Microsoft's going to drop like $3 on that. That's like,
Right.
to me, like stocks when they're at highs like this, people look for excuses to take profit. Oh, I got bad wicks. Sean's chart's better. Go to Sean's chart. His
I
chart's
just
a
went
little
long
bit better
now, but
than
now
mine.
it's tanking. And I didn't go long that much. I wanted to test it off that bottom. All right, 368. We don't need to go too crazy. We're not long that much here.
367 was big support earlier in the week. 367 even is big
All right,
support.
we've got it. Right there. We're long right now. We'll take 40 cents. Let's see where it goes from here. Yes, sir. That's what happens. Sometimes you got to step up. We did the math there. There it is right now. Welcome to what was just 80 cents in the money. No idea what this means. So we'll take a little bit of profit. We'll wait on this one. This could turn real super nasty, but at least we got some movement back in the market. There it is. So 367 and change. So let's wait to see. It is making that move down. We don't have many shares. We got out right there at 30. So it was actually only 30. No, it was 40 cents. Here it comes right back up again. That bottom right there, 367.60. Can take a shot if you want against that level, but here it comes right back up to the upside. Let's go, Mr. Softy. Again, a big stock for me today. It's actually Google's my #1 stock. Microsoft's my #2 stock. Let's stay in it. It's starting to move around here again as they digest this news. So watch out for a possible 367 or so break right now on Softy. It is starting to head to the downside, obviously, as you guys can all see right now. So Softy making the moves. We're just going to try to massage this position. It's not a big one, but let's see what happens right now with Microsoft. Hopefully making that move back up to the damn upside right there. And there we go, man. Let's go. Nice move for Microsoft. The rich get richer again. What's up, Brendo?
More on this, guys. OpenAI saying Brockman will be stepping down as chairman of the board. OpenAI board says it has lost confidence in Altman's candor. So it seems legit here for Sam Altman and OpenAI.
Yeah, I'm out of that trade. If it's flash news,
go.
My first thought is find a level in a liquidity vacuum where people were buying before, and then maybe they'll buy again. So zoomed out. That was here at 67. Waited till it actually held in front of 67. That was 67.60, Sean mentioned. I got in at 95, and I'm already out. Apologies for the wicks. I cleaned this chart up this morning. I don't know why it's all back. But it just bounced and got to like 69.25, and that was my out. So I just got in, took like 50 cents and then $1. I don't think I'd trade it again. The market's going to want to digest this news. I would feel like it's a little bit, whether I think it's overblown or not, I do. When something has just been making a run like this into fresh highs, then sometimes it is what it is. Profit taking is going to happen. Like if someone was looking for a reason to take profit on Microsoft, they might have just found it. So let's see what happens here. I don't know if this is going to cause anything on the imbalance locator. It was $8 million to sell. Absolutely nothing. I was asked about what the early looks were. Nothing gigantic here stands out for the early look. Pfizer will pair off, only $1 million to the sell side. So nothing standing out for the early look imbalances. You can see them like the BRKR. We'll let you guys know in about 15 minutes what the actual imbalances end up being. Could be a bit of a nothing burger, but Microsoft exploding in volume on that, I guess, Sam Altman resignation or whatever they called it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but there it is again, another $1.75 on Microsoft, man. Wow. This is why I keep saying how much I love being here, love this job, love explaining everything to you guys. We're long at 368. It dropped in. We bought it off support, and there it goes, man. $1.70 now in the money on Microsoft, and we're almost flat. Basically, just have one piece left. That is that, man. Great trading there on Microsoft. Thanks, Brendo. Let's shut it out to him again right there as we just keep on piling up, man. What a great day this has turned out to be. I just, as soon as that happened, I was like, I want to focus on Microsoft. So Google made the move back up there. I just covered at 86s. So basically, not basically, 4 flat on that trade because it's Microsoft right now. That is not a $1 in the money. We're looking at multiples right here. Let's see if we can break back above 370. There it goes, Microsoft. Good trade by Neil. We're holding it. Let's see if it gets up to 370. And there it goes. Let's go right now. Make sure you at least do this. Subscribe. Oh, that's that one? Oops, didn't mean that, but that's okay. As we'll face slap around a little bit. There it goes, man. Have many multiple tools in your box. We talked about scalping. That's what we did. Now you're holding something. Remember I told you, man, we're going to be here, try to put multiple dollar winners on. Looks like we got this right now for Microsoft. Again, have it in your, have the capability. Scalp some out, to maybe hold some, maybe don't. Do you, that's the most important thing, but the most important thing is you do this as well, right? You got to cash out. It's 337. That's a good move. Let the market digest it. That's why we have one piece left. Like, it's gravy, baby, and that's what it is. Not only is it gravy, it's young gravy.
Ooh, young gravy. You got another artist. Actually, no, I'm not going to get into the whole Drake. I was about to make a Drake J. Cole comment. Everyone's entitled to their opinion about that, except for the fact that J. Cole's better than Drake. Adara,
it's useless.
It's all fun. It's just all in fun. It's just all in fun. We're just having fun here. But the more I think about this Microsoft, next week we have NVIDIA earnings coming too. Like that would it not be a perfect storm? I'm just thinking out loud. Perfect storm of Microsoft makes a high and then excuse for people to sell. NVIDIA comes in and it does anything in that report with an excuse for people to sell when it's at the $500 level. I'm not saying we could be turning here, but NVIDIA pulled back off 500 yet again today. It pulled back on sympathy. Palantir gave back just now on sympathy to this as well. So I think you look at the entire space. I don't wonder if C3AI is in the most ridiculously easy short at this moment. I don't know. I haven't looked at this chart in a while. My first thought when I think pullback in the NASDAQ and the AI names coming off is where is C3AI and is it a good short? because this is the one that I don't really understand, and when it falls, it really falls, and the other ones actually make money and have a reason. I can understand why you buy Microsoft. I can understand why you buy Google. I can understand why you buy NVIDIA. I don't get this one, and if we're going to roll over off of this, might not be time for it today with 20 minutes left, but on Monday morning, who knows? But I look at this daily chart. I have a fat line drawn at like 28's been a really good line. 28 is where it bounced. I don't know why it doesn't continue here. 28 is where it bounced yesterday, where it broke out earlier in the week on Tuesday. If this is underneath 28, I want to be short C3AI next week, almost regardless of what I see. Okay, fine. If Microsoft's making fresh highs and this is nothing, but if that's not true, this stock should be a short next week. Forget about the others, this one.
Yeah, we are a little bit. So here it comes right back into flat. That's why you take the profits when they're there. We're going to be flattened out. There it is. So a nice little quick little scalp out there for Microsoft as, yeah, man, that was definite money maker there to be able to add that, pile it up near the end of the day, and then put Microsoft into the #1 stock here today. So Microsoft, the #1 P&L, Google, the #2, Amazon, 3, I think, AMD and Apple not doing much there. Tesla, I lost on. So Tesla's the. I wish we didn't. I wish this was a better stock for us. We've been really hitting Tesla pretty good, though, so it's all good. Is it going to get ugly? I mean, maybe, but look what we did here on Google. Again, like just face slap again. You know, it's about getting out. Like, there it is. Like, you know, here's all the wins. Here's 10% or less that we had left. There's the out, and now you're not part of this. So it's like, you know, not much really to do here. You hit the keys, you watch the levels, you see, you know, you sort of develop some of the news there, like Brendan just brought to us, and then you trade it accordingly. Obviously there on Microsoft, now it's right back up another $1. We only had a small piece, so I got out where we got in there before letting that happen. It actually does go down to 367 there. That was quite the flush there on Microsoft. So once again, you set your stop order even a little bit lower, you're going to get stopped out. So stop out where you buy it so that you take advantage of all of that. Because if this goes back down against me at $2, then it wouldn't have wiped out everything, but it would have been something there at least of giving some of that back. So far so good here as we go. Yeah, Sam Altman being replaced on the board of C3AI. Fired, Vince McMahon style. You're fired, Sam Altman. So C3AI, see you later on that. Or it's OpenAI. OpenAI, sorry, on that one, which I know you just looked at C3AI, so I actually wanted to look at it as well. But
it's the dog of the space, in my opinion. It's just like it's the canary in the. Well, it's not really the canary in the coal mine. It's just if we get a pullback off these highs, and it's because of this AI, and that's what starts it. Look, this market's rally this year owes a lot to NVIDIA and AI. So I just feel like every time it's turning, I know the stock that I've identified in my mind is the one that should be the easier short. And that's all I'm getting at. I have nothing against the company. I don't really even know too much about exactly what they do, which is part of the reason I think it usually sets up for a good short. So things are definitely stabilizing here, at least in terms of Microsoft stabilizing. The market is somewhat stabilizing as well. Anything that managed to hold on that didn't break the lows there, I think is you want to give it its due and give it its respect there. And Andrew, great observations. I don't know. I'm literally thinking out loud. Like everybody, like we all just saw what happened. You know, you make a trade quickly, whatever. I'm just trying to think about where this stock was and how it was leading the market for this entire week, and suddenly we had this kind of a reversal. To me, that's not going to be nothing going into NVIDIA next week, which everybody has been waiting for. Google is a rocket ship right now.
Yeah,
My
I don't
guess
know
is
why that is.
The other way. Bad for OpenAI, good for Alphabet. Like, remember when Alphabet lost I forget the exact number in market cap, maybe you remember off the top of your head, when they had the failed presentation? Microsoft was flying on it, and Google went to the downside because they had a bad presentation for their AI. So Microsoft goes down, Google goes up. I don't think that relationship makes any sense. They're probably both going to win buckets and make buckets and buckets of money off of this. So probably an overreaction. I think the algos are selling Microsoft and buying Google, if I had to guess at what's happening here.
And then just never fear, because I'm here. Google, we're short again now, another 30 cents in the money. What's up, Brendo?
Mira Murati, who was the CTO, going to take over as CEO, is a brilliant human being. I've listened to a few podcasts with her on it. I've listened to a number of interviews. There's one on Bloomberg that is just fascinating. So I don't, maybe this isn't even a bad thing for OpenAI at this point, but Mira Murati, again, CTO, former CTO, now CEO.
It's probably not that bad of a thing. That's my guess.
No,
It's probably not that
I don't
big.
think so. I mean, that's why I was going long. I don't even understand. Microsoft back to 369. But you know what, guys? It doesn't even matter. Fire off the hot dog cannon again. Because this, all right, I can't explain this too much better, but I'll try. Like, okay, so Microsoft news comes out. We go long. We pick a strong stock. It falls down, right? We buy those dips. We make money. Easy peasy, right? We're watching We're watching Goldman. We're watching Google. You know, we've been on that name. We get out when it breaks higher. No losses whatsoever on this story for us. It rips up. We short it. That purple's a short there. 135.49. It's down to 135.14. So it's just like another one. It is another one. And then hopefully we'll be able to do more of that and then face slap a little bit as there it comes down. So we only have 2 pieces left. We'll fire some more bullets at this thing, but that's trading. So there it is. Make the move, come back in, and just, again, risk to reward. Like, it's pretty simple here for this trade on Google. But again, lucky that there was some news coming in, able to take advantage of it, and now able to go over for an IG ad read.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and 0 commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
And you just popped up on the imbalance. It doesn't really matter. That stock's pretty much always there. I'm a little surprised we didn't see some activity on those 2 names maybe pop in here. But at 350, I think you do see some imbalances. Later this month, you are going to get MSCI. So just shout out to that, because there is going to be, not next week, but it'll be, not next week, but 2 weeks from now, you will get one big rebalance day. Whether or not we see something on ARM, I still don't necessarily know exactly what happened in ARM. But I always say to myself, if I don't know what's going on, I don't usually put a trade on. I just sort of back off. Like for Microsoft, I didn't want to get in until I found a level. But ARM was just, once again, it's money if you just short it into that 56 level. For whatever reason, it's running into resistance at 56 until it stops doing this. This is just, ARM is a short at 56. This plays both ways. Higher lows into this 56. There's a thing called a flat bottom break. There's also a thing called a flat top break. ARM very well, if it gets through this high, this one is at 56.80. If it breaks that next week, this could really run. Like there's a huge amount of air up there if it breaks that level. Until then, the short is the short at that level. I don't know if any of you guys would have taken it, but when I see this move and I don't know why it's happening, my first thought isn't to, hey, just jump into the short at 330. It would have worked out for me there, but I don't like trading. It didn't make any sense. Something had to be happening. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so that's, and again, that's what we keep talking about, guys. Like, you know, you got to be able to be careful about what you're doing. I would have, yeah, that ARM trade's tough. I don't have volume on here. I actually might as well get rid of RSI. I was going to say, for me, if there was decent, I mean, I could put it on right now. Let's just do it. We only have 3 minutes, and then I'm going to leave anyways because we got to get going with the podcast. But let me just see something here. I'm going to add volume right now. So I'm going to put volume on right now to see what this does. Because right there, push apply, push there, and then, yeah, okay, I got to get rid of the RSI. But yeah, I see no real significant volume spike up there. Like if there would have been a nice spike up there of volume, then to me that could have triggered downside. But other than that, yeah, you just have your 56 level right there, which actually, yeah, that's like 25 cents worth of risk. Could have been taken, but you would have liked to see a volume spike.
You know what it looks like happened?
What?
I'm not saying this happened, but it just looks like there was like a program buying that just stopped. Mm-hmm. But there's like nothing happened at the high except for like volume just stopped. And then it fell, like which is weird because you don't generally see that happen very often. And it wasn't like it was doing any volume on the day. The spread was wide, stock wasn't doing jack, wasn't doing anything, and then it just runs right into the high and dumps off there. But that's the kind of pattern. If you blindly followed yesterday's top, and I'm not saying you should have, but I mean literally blindly followed it, it wicked the same top, exactly to the penny, the same high from yesterday at 9:30. Sometimes that's what it's like. Trading is all about pattern. It's mostly about pattern recognition and then finding the levels and then trading off of them. It is 349. The imbalances are going to come in less than 1 minute. Microsoft is trying to retest that low. I don't know why you don't have the wicks on your chart, and mine decides that, and my 15 as well. But it is retesting that 367 low. It's entirely possible it gives this one up. They might have found an excuse to sell the top of this market. And by I mean they, I just general euphemism out there. But in less than 30 seconds, we are going to get those imbalances. I don't know what they're going to tell, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised if you saw some tech names to the south side. It was absolutely nothing. 8 million to sell. I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some sell balances on this one.
Okay, we'll call it up in just a second. We are going to be bidding, well, we did bid 17s there. I mean, Google just stopped again right there. So we'll have to wait to see if it comes back. I'm bidding 17. We'll have this up. Let me just call it up for you right now. And then after this, I'll scram. Oops, right there. Now let's see what it is. Well, Brendan will give it to us. It was only 8 million to sell initially, and here it is right now. So there's NU, stays with the sell. I just heard that it was 600 something to sell, so we'll wait to see her buy. We'll get that number from Brendan in a second. I don't see Microsoft's a bid. Oops, Microsoft's a bid. So look at that.
They went the other way.
Big time right there.
TLT
yeah,
is a sell.
730 to buy. So some good levels there. I don't see much. Obviously, I got out of Gap just because I got to. So we'll hit the cash register for that. Another good positive name for us today. No mistakes. One trade in on Gap and out. So right there, one trade. Out a couple times at VWAP, and then we're thinking it was going to break, and it didn't. And that just leaves me with this trade. So I don't know. I got to go, but I would think that this could probably hold out. It came out a buy. It will flip around at 355, so there is a good chance here that this does come back in a little bit. So we're going to have to watch out here for Google. There it is. We take the fill, and there it is right there. That's it, man. We'll face slap out of here. Good trade there for Google. I hope some of you had the long and the short on that play. That was good. And then the Microsoft long.
Long Google?
Well, no. If you had the long on that move up.
Oh, on the move, the original
I didn't
move
have
up.
it. If anybody did, the long would have been, in Microsoft. So that was right. That long was just honestly icing on top of said cake, and you're going to get more icing in just a couple minutes with the podcast. So get ready for that one. As per usual, I'm nervous about everything, but hopefully it will work out, and hopefully you guys will be able to join us as well. So I'm going to go get some Hydration Nation, get ready to rock and roll. So I'll hand it off to Mr. Robert's neighborhood, and it will be your neighborhood for the next 8 minutes.
I'm not even wearing my Arista Rogers. I have a legitimate cardigan which fits that flavor. Nvidia, another name. Look, I saw in the chat someone's like, Nvidia's dropping. It dropped like $3. I think that makes some logical sense when you consider what just happened to Microsoft. And again, the algos, sometimes you get buy and sell programs in groups. And when they're selling Microsoft at highs, they can be selling Nvidia at highs as well. And the 500 level is definitely a high. Bob W, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Although it's kind of outside here right now, it's a little bit overcast and it's going to get cold tomorrow. But it's a beautiful day in the markets as long as you like trading things that aren't necessarily the tight range in the futures. You had to find the individual names. I saw someone say what's going on with Blink. What's going on with Blink is probably what's going on with the rest of the space. Although right now it's making a small bounce. It's down 6%. It is giving back I don't want to call it a squeeze, but I'm kind of calling it a squeeze that it just put in. When this happens, usually you get a pullback. I don't think there's anything abnormal about what's going on in Blink the last couple of days. You got to double up off the bottom and then immediately starting to come back in after it pulls a double up. In terms of what's happening in the chart, this could pull all the way back into 3 or 330 and still be relatively bullish and try to retest those highs. $3 even is where consolidation was. $3 where the 50 period is. And whether you swing trade or day trade or you look for patterns like this. So this could pull back a significant amount and still be in a reasonable bull pattern. It's a little late in the day for this. We never got our shot at $100 on Coinbase. I was unwilling to compromise, thinking the last time it got here, it really did give you $100 for the short. Today, it did not give you that opportunity. You got 99.40, and then pull right back in. Let's respect the fact that it dips off 100, makes a bottom, makes a higher low, and could be retesting it next week. A lot of times I want to set things up. I know I'm going to look at this anyways. I have it on my iPad. I have 100 marked off on my iPad, and I haven't really changed that. But understand that it is screaming into this level, up 2% into a flat market, and you've had, the other thing you've got going on here is there was a big spike in BTC. It wasn't a huge spike, but it was a decent spike in BTC today where it managed to hold at least some of those gains. And this could be breaking out and getting back into that 37,000 range. So a lot of things are working for a few bullish names out there, despite the fact that we're going to end with Microsoft and NVIDIA looking like they're rolling over. In crypto land, a lot of things have done very, very well to end this week. So shout it out in the chat if there's anything you want me to look at. I see Streamlabs is paying off, but I'm not going to fall for that sucker's bet. The gambler's fallacy is seeing everybody else win in the spins, and then I spin as well. I'm on a run with that, so I'm not going to do it until I feel the winds want to give it to me. Tesla, Soul Runner for life. Shout out to you. Tesla here. Okay, we're going to close positive on Tesla into a down market. Come on, chart. We got some time left. The good thing about Tesla is it shouldn't matter. You got to think it doesn't matter what happens in NVIDIA. It doesn't matter what happens in Microsoft. So you don't want to see it fall in a situation like that. But it's still nice to see they just flat out just held VWAP. Nobody was selling Tesla on that move back in the futures. It was entirely somewhat chip related, but mostly the AI names going to the downside. Tesla's going to end up holding the bid very well when the rest of the EVs look like, you know what? Tesla is forming a decent wedge in here, and sometimes these wedges break to the upside. If Tesla's does, you know what happens when Tesla breaks resistance to the upside. Intel is another one worth looking at in here, and Intel is going to close up 1%. I think it's a long till it's not. I think you can day trade short. I had a good short there off the high, get away fly, but it's a long till it's not. Like, look for dip buying opportunities when you can in Intel until it gets to $45. That's the big level on Intel. Next week, everything, I understand everything can change when NVIDIA comes through. We know that can be the case, but there hasn't been a more ridiculous stock in terms of the explosive move to the upside that I can think of where it was as steady as this for the last month. Like, it's been a very clean month. A couple of consolidations in here, 38, 39. Remember the 39 short up there, but since then, it's going absolutely parabolic, and you got to respect the trend when it comes in. Faro Towers says Disney's climbing. Are we going to get back to 95? I hope we get to 100, because I'm selling my stock if we get to 100. That's just me. Why does it go Disney A? I hit DIS and enter, and it goes to whatever the heck that is. So Disney's at 94. We love what's happening here in terms of catching a bid. If this wants to load up in a second, there you go. Triple bottom on Disney, breakout off 86, breakout off 92, attempted break at 95. It's not quite there just yet, but you talk about the 95 level, I just think it's the next step to the upside. When it breaks that and gets into here, I'm out. I'm taking the money and running. And I didn't buy it recently. Like, this is, I had longs in front of the 80 level from way back in pandemic times, and then just sat there watching it do, I got some out on the way up, but watching for the rest of it just do this, and I'm just going to take the money and run if it gets to 100. It's not something that I prefer in my long-term portfolio. I want to get that money and find a place to buy something that I like a little bit better. Probably the Qs till I find something that I really, really like. It could be Netflix. I see people in there asking about Terper, asking about a firm for next week. My general thoughts on a firm is 27, but I'm going to show you why. That's the number to watch on a firm. I'm going to pull up my daily chart. Don't want it to take too long to load here, guys. But if you think about squeezes or something squeezing, which I think a firm is a bit of a squeeze stock, it already double tapped 27 on the daily. It's higher lows into a big potential breakout, and then right here, go all the way back to September of 2022, and you had a 27 top. It is now a recent double top. This breaks 27, I think squeeze to 30 on a firm. It's got a 20% short float, but it's got to take out that level. VWAP Trader wants this. I don't know why you do. Here's the context. If a firm breaks 27, don't look a gift horse in the mouth on the way up. That's all I will say about that. But I do like that level. It'll be a big one. Tai, do not sleep on Palantir. You were absolutely right. PLTR has been another stock it's on one. It's going to close the week strong. It's going to close the week attempting to hold this breakout on the daily. Lots of room to the upside if it can hold this break. It's actually through 50 right now. If it wasn't 359, if this was in the middle of the day or in the open, I promise you at least a few people on this floor would be long this in a 2050 breakout. But you can't do it with a minute to go in the day. It is what it is. I think it's a trade for next week. I don't think you want this thing short unless it's failing underneath this level and failing under 20. On a run, let it go. 30 seconds to get in there, but you're not, the market's closing, but you're not going anywhere. I understand if you got places to be, but it is the inaugural podcast for Trader TV Live in just 20 seconds. Market closes, we'll wrap it up, we'll send it to the desk. It's going to be Sean and Brendan. We're doing it every single week for you guys because you asked for it. The other thing you asked for is to get the camera off me and onto Adara so we can drop the countdown. There we go in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it. And that is your week, ladies and gentlemen. I hear the guys in the back. They're happy about something that happened in the last couple of seconds there in the market, and we can be happy for them as well. But very quickly, just to get through the rundown, shout out to the ones and twos. We got Ram. I had to say it at least one time. I will never say it again. That's Sharif's thing. Obviously, you guys doing a fantastic job on the desk. And I forget that. What's the nickname? The Chilean Sensation? Is that what it is? There as well. And we saw Adara. Shout out to Sharif. He's also going to be in the podcast. We're going to rotate it through every single week. Shout out to Brendan, our fantastic guests that we had on today. Always a blast bringing the live news. You saw it with the Microsoft, the big deal to make sure you get that news right because look at that price action. Google off the top, Microsoft off the bottom, and both ways because of that catalyst. But you know what you got to do now? You got to get the camera off me. You're going nowhere. You're staying right here for the inaugural Trader TV Live podcast.
Here we go. A different look.
Look at this.
But
Look at this
I like
mood
it. It's a little moody.
I'm excited about the mood light.
It's a little less in your
I feel like I
face.
should've dressed up here.
No, you're fine. Welcome.
Ooh, look at that.
I feel like I'm not necessarily in the right position, but it's fine.
Wow.
Episode number 1.
Is that what it is?
It is episode number